To give you an idea of what to expect as you start your committee work, we'll be showing a video that contains excerpts of past committee meetings. In these excerpts, you'll see examples illustrating each step of the committee hearing process and giving you an idea of what's expected of legislators as they present their bills to committees. Each hearing on a bill starts with the chairman opening the hearing and then calling on the sponsor to present the bill. At the conclusion of the sponsor's opening remarks, the chairman will call for proponents. People testifying in support of the bill typically will explain various aspects of the bill and discuss why they support the legislation. Proponents may also suggest amendments to the bill.
We have one bill before us today, Senate Bill 208, sponsored by Senator Ron Erickson. Senator Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Ron Erickson, Senate District 47, that's Southeast Missoula, including the University of Montana. A quick story about how the bill got here, and I'll say something about the bill and wait for all the wonderful proponents to come forth. We in Missoula, as legislators in Missoula, as probably for all of you, have lots of events before the session starts. We had a particular event where we were asked to come and chat with the school boards in Missoula County. But note then that with A and C, Saturday school is not a pupil instruction related day as defined in, and student attendance is voluntary. Mr. Chairman, I'll sit down and listen to proponents and opponents. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Opponents? Proponents, excuse me. I didn't think there were any. No. Just kidding.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Allen, and I am representing Missoula County Public Schools. And we were at the meeting that Senator Erickson spoke about. In Missoula, we're working to identify what are the key elements for a 21st century education for students to be able to be successful. And our first insight in our work is that flexibility is a key to achieving our goals.
After all the proponents have spoken, the chairman will call for opponents. People testifying against the bill will tell you why they think it's unnecessary. They'll sometimes propose amendments, but usually they want the committee to vote against the bill. Some bills are pretty non-controversial and don't draw any opponents. That was the case with Senate Bill 208, Senator Erickson's bill. However, sometimes many people travel to speak on one side or the other. This next clip involves a hearing on a stream access bill, for which both proponents and opponents packed the largest meeting room in the Capitol to testify.
Further proponents. Seeing none, are there any opponents?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you very much. For the record, my name is Steve Gallus. I represent Senate District 37 in Silverboe County. I just want to be very brief. I have a lot of constituents here today that have some serious concerns with 309. I did want to point out one unintended consequence of the legislation of the committee, and it goes back to this really interesting organization that was born by landowners in the Big Hole. It's called the Big Hole Watershed Committee.
After proponents and opponents have testified, the chair will call for informational witnesses. These witnesses don't take a position on the bill, but instead state their name and offer to answer questions. After everyone who wants to testify has had an opportunity to speak, the chair will call for questions from the committee. This is an opportunity for committee members to ask questions of the sponsor and witnesses to clarify the bill's purpose and technical elements.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question for the sponsor.
Mr. Chairman, Senator.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Erickson, I think this is a great idea. I guess I'd be a little more interested in the group that you met with, like who is involved in this group? Has there been any input from students as to whether there's interest on their part, and just some things along that line?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Browning, the The group included mainly school board folks and people who work for them, but we also had there the chief person from the Montana Teachers Union, the Missoula Teachers Union. She was there, and I've talked to her about this as well. I do not recall, perhaps Senator Facey does because he was there, whether or not there were any students, but this was basically a meeting with the board.
Thank you.
Senator Lake?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
When the committee is done asking questions, the sponsor has an opportunity to make a closing statement, to reiterate the arguments for the bill, and respond to any issues that have been raised during the hearing.
Seeing none, Senator Erickson, would you care to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for good questions all around. To me, the key word is flexibility. I didn't use it in my opening. Several people used it to follow up here. I think that's what we're after. Know that the bill is in your hands in terms of language. I certainly hope you put my amendment on, but Mr. Chairman, I hope that you agree with the idea that flexibility is good. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Erickson. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 208.
After the hearing, the committee will take executive action on the bill. That usually occurs at a later meeting, but sometimes will occur on the same day. This is when the committee members discuss the merits and drawbacks of the bill, and when they offer amendments if they want to make changes. The typical motions in committee are to amend the bill, pass the bill, either as introduced or as amended, or to table the bill. A bill that makes it through the committee process will move to the House or Senate floor for consideration by the full body. Committee members are often called upon to explain why they thought the bill should move forward, so your work as a committee member doesn't end with the hearing.